Soon and very soon, we are going to see the horse. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the horse. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of The Dissection. So, Minister Senzo Mchunu was back today. He came in a VIP entourage, still a minister, still with all of the protections, but the explanations in the room, they were not working out for him. They were not working out for him. And even though he is in the preliminary phase of his testimony, you could tell that no. The gentleman is now in trouble. So Minister Mchunu gave a brief appearance on Tuesday. It was very brief, and then he was continuing with his testimony, his side of the story, so to speak, today. So effectively, we are still in day one. And day one is the easy day for the implicated, whether it's Brown Mohotsi, whether it's Julius Mkwanazi. They'll let you speak. They'll let you give your explanation. They'll let you tell your side of the story. And mostly it is without interruption. They will let you give your version. They will ask here and there some clarifying questions, but predominantly it's your mic, it's your stage. You can have a go at it. And Minister Mchunu did that. He gave a version around what informed his decision. He spoke about the implications that the Political Killings Task Team had committed some atrocities. He spoke about the work study. He spoke about the financials. Basically, what we heard him repeat or state when he spoke in Parliament. And there are challenges to some of those versions. But as soon as he started going, you could tell that, no, he is in trouble. So there was a small change administratively because leading the evidence today was Advocate Matlapeselo. And that was a switch from Advocate Lee Siegels. She's a little bit junior. I think she was doing a good job. But Advocate Matlapeselo is, she can cut to you. She can get you. And you could tell even from the clarity-seeking questions that, no, the man is not in a good situation. He's not in a good position. But things were falling apart. And I think, it's not going to be good for him, because if it's falling apart at this level on day one, effectively we're still in day one, how much more is it going to fall apart when they really start cooking you? And we'll look at some of the engagements that will happen tomorrow. But what's interesting is that there's an appreciation that his testimony is going to be much longer than ending tomorrow. So they're going to split it up into parts. He's going to respond to some of the stuff, I think, tomorrow. Tomorrow may be the last day of 2025. I don't know. We'll see. But it looks that way. Then he may have to come back, and then they'll spend that period between the 5th and the 17th to draft their preliminary report. So they may want to at least get through the PKTT decision before traversing some other elements. But you could tell he was in trouble because of what happened here. That word immediately, now. Oh, no. Listen to this English lecture that he gets within the commission. Who knew that? I don't know if it was explained to him by Advocate Ngwai told me that, Commissioner Madlanga may give you this English lecture. But when you have constitutional law justices coming to a commission and having the pedigree and level of training that they have, oftentimes you will get these lessons because, interpretation of law, interpretation of statutes, all of that is part of legal training, and there are strict rules and strict approaches which are used when you are looking at various things. And you could tell that a lecture was cooking. So basically, none of the commissioners believed him, but I'm going to play you the exchange from Commissioner Madlanga as well as Commissioner Kumalo. You're going to see that this word immediately, in Parliament, they let him get away with it. But here, let me play you this immediately.
Correct. I'm sorry, Minister. I want to understand your use of immediately. What do you say immediately relates to? Does it relate to the disbandment, that is disbandment immediately? If not, what do you say it relates to? I'm not sure I understood you.
It relates to a decision having been taken. So saying to the National Commission, take note that the decision has been taken immediately. The decision.
So it is you that acted immediately.
Maybe let me put it like this to explain. It doesn't say, for instance, with immediate effect. It says immediately, meaning this decision has been taken immediately.
So the way I'm sitting, I think the two mean the same.
But in the context, especially when you attach the preliminary report, which is not required as of 31, it is required for another date. And then the UNESCO, it clearly sends a message that this immediate is not like switching off. It's not like whoever is driving.
Minister, when I studied or was taught English in my younger days, they would say an adverb. What does it do? It modifies a verb, I think, and an adjective qualifies a noun. That's the grammar I was taught. So your immediately is an adverb. So which verb in your sentence does it modify or does it relate to? That's where I want to be sure of what exactly you mean.
I have difficulty with your explanation that immediately refers to you having made a decision immediately. Because I'm going to read that sentence. This is what it says. I therefore direct that the political killings task team be disestablished immediately. So my reading of it is that you were directing that something be done immediately, not that you were saying you have made an immediate decision that something must happen in the future. So if you can just...
Definitely, that is part of what immediately, in terms of the decision that has been taken, would mean. It would mean start thinking about the process, start preparing the report, start, aligning yourself with this or any other kind of response. So it indicates that even though we are not stopping now, everything switching off now, but switch on the process.
Does it also mean if you have different views, then engage me on those views?
Obviously, it will mean that exactly because in any decision that the ministry would take, you open it up for engagement with the management. That's why the second meeting after the preliminary report would entail UNESCO so that we have engagements on the matter to assess whatever would have come up from the preliminary report.
You can immediately see that Minister Senzo Mchunu is cooked. I don't think that he's going to come back as the Minister of Police. I don't think that he has discharged himself in a manner that would make the president feel comfortable with bringing him back without receiving substantial pushback. As things stand right now, the president is in a bit of a precarious position himself because we are seeing reports in various media houses that there are people who are now pushing for him to resign as a variety of factors. They are pushes for him to resign. The economy is not doing well. There are these allegations that are surrounding Minister Mchunu, and people are now saying, look, this might be a good time to take the ANC in a different direction before local government elections and revitalize this thing. Whether or not those arguments will win the day is neither here nor there, because for the purposes of the point that I'm illustrating, it's that he is not in a position right now to expend political capital defending one individual at the point at which it could actually compromise him. You know, Boris Johnson fell in part because he was defending a gentleman known as Chris Pincher, who was busy grabbing people's bums there in nightclubs and in bars. And it was discovered later that Boris Johnson was aware of his behavior and had protected him because of the political relationship that they had. And that then became the last straw for many people who were within the Tory benches. And then it precipitated or then created the fall of Boris Johnson. So as a result of that, I don't think that Minister Mchunu is going to come back. He needed to knock this out of the park. He needed to do an excellent job in responding to the questions. But even if you pay attention to the assessment of his answers, the quality of the answers, as the public was responding to them on social media, people were unimpressed, they were nonplussed, they were confused by his answers and not supportive of his reasoning. So at a political level, I think it's crickets for him. I think it's done. This answer around immediately, I think, illustrates that, because even as you were listening to him, if you watched, you would just get a feeling that there's nothing that he's saying. There's no way that he can explain this immediately as an instruction that was given, which also means we can still debate it. It's still open for interpretation. It's not for now, it's for later, but it's for now, because I want it done before the end of January. All of that cannot be explained within the context of a decision which was done to preserve the ongoing court cases and to do this in an orderly fashion, in a consultative fashion. And this issue of the consultative fashion is one that then comes up in the second clip that I'm going to play for you, where you can see that the commissioners, even as much as they're looking for clarity, are really bewildered about the way in which he made these moves. And here is what they had to say.
Minister, what was the relationship, working relationship, of course, between you and the National Commissioner from the time you became Minister of Police up to the 31st of December 2021? What was the working relationship like between the two of you?
It was what I could describe as a very good relationship.
Very
Working
good. Very good working relationship.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, on the 31st of December 2024, you surprise everybody within SAPS, in particular the top management, with your decision of that day. And you do this having a very good working relationship with the National Commissioner of Police. You accept that that is effectively what you did. You as it were, if I were to be metaphorical, you drop a bomb like that.
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
Why not?
The reason is in the narrative that starts from 2019 with anticipated reintegration of the team that had been established, then extending. The narrative was always that the NPKTT, right from the beginning, is for 6 months. And then it gets extended another 6 months, then a year, then another year. But in the minds of management, in the minds of SAPS management combined, both from the ministry and from management, it is anticipated, it is expected, it is something that we should be doing, even when you now had the teams functional, Matt and Robert. But so, yes, maybe an element of surprise, but not exactly, because it's something that has been in the mind, has been spoken about, and it has always been something that we could do anytime, just required somebody to come forward and say, the time is this one.
Minister, the PKTT is in existence And for the time when there would be interministerial committee meetings at which the PKTT would report, it was always praised throughout, correct?
Yes, correct.
And in fact, all of these meetings, no, let me say most perhaps. Most of these meetings are post the one event you referred to, which is what was that report? The
Marai
2019,
report.
the work study.
Or the work study.
Most of these meetings go into the 2000s. And it's not just one meeting. They go into the 2000s. And the work study is in 2019. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
It started in 2018.
So beyond the work study that you partly rely on, the PKTT is being praised at meetings of the Interministerial Committee, correct? Correct?
Yes, correct.
Correct. Now you are suggesting that because something had happened or had been said in the work study, therefore, senior management of SAPS must have expected that you could just drop what I will continue to call this bombshell, even though they've been praised throughout, right up to the time of the last meeting of the IMC. No, they were actually expecting a disbandment. Can you seriously say that, Minister?
Come again, Chair, on the last part.
I am saying, Minister, right up to the last meeting of the IMC,
Yes.
which was in the 2000s in terms of years, they were being praised.
Yeah.
And this is way after the work study report.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, surely if they are being praised, Minister, they can't expect that, but we're going to be terminated the very following day. So what I'm putting to you is, on what basis can you seriously contend that they must have been expecting that the PKTT would be disbanded? Just on what basis? They are being praised for what they do. On what basis could they think, despite our performance, good performance, insofar as I'm not talking about Dr. DeHaas and other people,
Yes.
And I'm by no means judging what Dr. DeHaas and others have said, not at all. But I'm saying, in accordance with the assessment of the IMC, they are performing very, very well. On what basis can you seriously suggest that they must have been expecting that they could be disbanded any day?
The work study is not going to be enough for him to rely upon, because it's clear that there is no consensus that is a solid authority for him to say he used to disband the team. I don't think that he's going to be able to rely on Professor Mary DeHaas and some of the issues she raised, because when you take that input of Professor Mary DeHaas to the Madlanga Commission, it is going to fall apart much more than it did in the ad hoc committee. The ad hoc committee at least was letting you slide and say, no, I didn't verify this, I didn't verify the other thing. And they would let you get away with just giving that as an answer. That's not going to fly at the Madlanga Commission. They want you to adduce. They want you to bring those annexures. They want you to be able to corroborate every claim that you're making. So if you say this police officer was abused, they want to see evidence of that abuse. If you say this particular incident happened, they want to see evidence that that incident happened. I don't think that Professor Mary DeHaas, from what she presented in Parliament, will be able to discharge that, because she made multiple concessions that she did not actually verify those things and was looking at it from a desktop and had not gone on the ground. And at other times, she was not even willing to go in camera to give information about particular witnesses. So I don't think that's going to fly. The issue of necessity, I think, is also not going to fly, because simply because the killings went down, the political killings went down, doesn't mean that the team is not necessary. It actually means that the team is working. You know, if you go into the gym and you start losing your mkaba and the mkaba starts going down, that doesn't mean that gym is no longer necessary. That just means gym is working. So you need to keep pushing. You need to keep doubling down on your exercise, not necessarily go back to eating pap and chakalaka and steak and then expecting that, you know, those gains won't disappear, because they will disappear. Gym is what was making the difference. You don't cut gym in the name of fixing other departments and other things, right? You have to fix those other things while keeping gym. You can't say, well, you know, I haven't been partying as much ever since I started gymming, so let me party some more, and then, you know, because now I've lost the weight. No, that's not the way it works. The logic is not adding up, and you can tell that the commissioners were perplexed that this big decision was made in the manner that it was made when you have such an excellent working relationship with the national commissioner. And it's going to get worse for him, I think. I don't think it's going to get better. This was the day when it was supposed to be a walk in the park. And already you could tell that he's not doing well. So let's meet tomorrow. We'll continue with this exploration of the minister's testimony and how the cross-examinations went. But as things stand right now, it's not looking good, bruv. As they say in the United Kingdom, it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good. All right, let's meet in the comment section. We're going to keep it short, but tomorrow we'll do a long dissection. What do you guys think? What did you make of Minister Senzo Mchunu's extended day one? Because it's still on day one. Let's meet in the comment section. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the horse. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the horse.